Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Today we're making some air fried chicken. And I'm gonna take a whole chicken and I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna show you how to cut down a whole chicken so it turns into 8 pieces of chicken, just like you get an 8-piece at Kentucky Fried Chicken. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to learn a new skill. And the goal is to air fry this chicken so it becomes magically delicious. It will be finger licking good. The spice recipe that we're using today is the spice recipe that was leaked to the Chicago Tribune years ago. And apparently this is supposed to be the secret Colonel's recipe, but I doubt it. But we'll see how it tastes. And then after we make it and cook it, we're gonna compare it to some Kentucky Fried Chicken and see what the taste looks like and the texture and the crunchiness. I'm looking for the crunch and the taste. Either way, whether it turns out good or not, I'm after some good crunchy chicken, because I need some protein to build some muscles. The reason I'm air frying this because I'm still on my weight loss journey and I don't want to eat a bunch of freaking fat. I'm trying to get skinny. So let's see what it looks like. These are our 2 chickens, okay? Guess which one is from which institution? So if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Helps the channel out. If you have any ideas of what you'd like to see in the future, please comment below. And as usual, the ingredients will be listed below. Okay, in a small bowl, you want to put your 12 herbs and spices because we're adding a special one. But you're going to add 2/3 tablespoon of salt, 1/2 tablespoon of thyme, 1/2 tablespoon of basil, 1/3 tablespoon of oregano, 1 tablespoon of celery salt, 1 tablespoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of dried mustard, 4 tablespoons of paprika, 2 tablespoons of garlic, 1 tablespoon of ground ginger, 3 tablespoons of white pepper, and our friend Wei Jing, 1 tablespoon of MSG, which is optional, but it enhances the flavor and it should be added. Go ahead and mix it up with your tiny whisk. So you're gonna take 1/4 of this spice mix and you're gonna put it on your chicken. That's gonna soak in the buttermilk overnight. The other 3/4 is going to go in your flour and your cornstarch mixture. So in a larger bowl, you're gonna add 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 1 cup of cornstarch and 3/4 of your spice mixture, and go ahead and mix this up really, really well. So the other thing is don't be afraid of the amount of spices you put in here. If you use less spices, your chicken's gonna be bland and it's gonna taste like garbage. So don't be afraid of the amount of spices we used here. After this is mixed up thoroughly, you're gonna divide this in half and put it in 2 separate bags, which we're going to use for the breading tomorrow. Okay, in a large bowl, you're gonna add 2 cups of creamy buttermilk. It's so creamy, it's like my thighs. And you're gonna add 2 whole eggs, and then you're gonna mix it up really well. Make sure you use your tiny whisk. So I got a whole big dang chicken. I've never done this before. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull off the legs and thighs first, and then the little wingies, and then we're gonna flip it over and take off the backbone, and then cut out the chicken breast. So let's see what happens. So with these wings, I'm using a big freaking cleaver. You can use any sharp knife. But you're gonna wanna kinda cut down until you find the joint. And then, that's Big Kitty. And then you're gonna wanna pop this joint, okay? And then just cut it at that joint. Cut your piece of chicken off. Okay, there's your first little wingy. And it looks like they pulled the point off here too. So this would be the flat here, and that would be the drumstick. Okay, just pop out that joint. Okay, some people won't have the stomach for this, but it's all right. Okay, that kind of came off pretty easily. Again, here's the flat, here's the drumstick, kind of a wimpy drumstick, but it is what it is. Okay, and then you're gonna flip over your chicken, and then we're gonna get this leg and thigh off. So kind of the same thing, cut down until you find that joint. You're gonna wanna pop it up. Okay, pop out that joint. See, it's dislocated there. And then cut down to that joint. Pop your little leg and your thigh off. So there's another one. Same thing over here. Okay, if you see like any tiny little hairs, you're gonna need to pluck all that business off too, because you don't want to eat that. Okay, then we're gonna cut the spine off. And we're just gonna go down this piece of meat here. Okay. We're just gonna bend this puppy. Break it off. And then you're gonna slice down the center here. There's a little groove. You're gonna slice down the center here and you're gonna go down that breastbone. Okay. Just slice down. There's your 2 chicken breasts. That one's freaking huge. So 2 chicken breasts. Okay. Legs and thigh. 2 wingies. So the last thing we got to do is just pop off this little drum here. So again, dislocate it. Find that joint. Okay, there's that thigh. Kind of beat up. There's the leg. Let's do the same to this one here. I'm just going to feel where that joint's at and just cut down. Okay. Chicken breasts. This one's going to take a long time to cook. Chicken breasts, thigh, leggies, wingies. Not very pretty, but we did it. So I spent a few minutes and cleaned off some of the bones I didn't want, which Kentucky Fried Chicken doesn't necessarily do, but I didn't want them. And any little hangy fat blobs, I took those off. So what you're gonna do next is add in 1/4 of your spice mix and give this a good mix. Okay, so this is a pro tip. Before you put your chicken into your egg and buttermilk mixture, with a super sharp knife, just make some tiny little slits in the chicken, because then the buttermilk will soak down into the chicken and make it a little bit more tender. So just make some random little slits everywhere. This will also help the breading to get into these little crevices and hang on a little bit better. And then make sure that these get submerged really, really well. And then you're just gonna go ahead and just cover these with plastic wrap or cling wrap and let it sit until you're ready to cook it in about 6 hours, if not overnight. Last thing to do is draw a smiley face on there. And put on the CTT logo to make it taste good. So it's the next day, so let's take a look at our chicken that's been soaking in the buttermilk and the spice mixture. I'm sure it's going to be super delicious. So the next steps is that we're going to take our chicken and we're going to put it into one of the bags of flour, make sure it gets nice and coated. And then we're going to let all of them sit for about 15 minutes. And then we're going to coat them in the second bag of flour, and then we're going to let it sit for another 15 minutes after that, and then I'll show you the next step. And the reason that you want to have them sit for 15 minutes is because the flour will adhere to the chicken a whole lot better. Okay, let's take the wrap off. Ooh, that smells nice. You're going to take one of your bags of flour, grab one of your chickens. It's best to have a wet hand and a dry hand, but who knows? This ends up being a giant mess either way. So take your chicken, let all the excess fluid fall off, and go ahead and put it in your bag. And then with your other hand, you're gonna make sure this gets coated really, really well. Make sure all the little nooks and crannies are covered with flour. You don't want any dry spots. And then shake off all of the excess. And then you're gonna put it down on your wire rack to let it sit for 15 minutes. So go ahead and repeat this with the other 7 or 8 pieces that you have. Okay, here's our chicken after we breaded it. You can see that it's starting to soak up. That moisture is starting to soak up the flour and the cornstarch and the spices, but it used quite a bit of flour. So to my second bag, I'm going to add another 1/2 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of cornstarch. And you typically want to do a 2-to-1 ratio with your flour to cornstarch. So it may dilute the spices a little bit, but I'm going to need more flour. So that's what they look like after about 15 minutes. These are still soaking a little bit. See how they're a little bit dry? So I'm going to start on this other end. And this is basically round 2. So we're going to dip them back in the buttermilk mixture, bread them, and then let them sit for another 15 minutes. And then we'll go ahead and start cooking. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes. So what you're going to want to do next is spray pieces of the chicken that are about evenly sized. So I'm going to spray 3 pieces of this chicken with some avocado oil, and you want to get both sides. Kind of spray evenly. And I'm going to spray this thigh over here too. Okay, and then we're going to put a little bit of pepper. Sprinkle just a little bit of pepper on it, just to give it some texture, and cup it over. And then spray the other side, then pepper it again. After it's preheated, spray the pan with a little oil. And then stick in your 3 chickens. And you want to make sure that these are evenly spaced to make sure that there's good airflow all around them so they cook evenly. And then go ahead and stick them back in the air fryer. And then we're going to flip these halfway to make sure that they get evenly cooked. Okay, time to turn the food. Holy cow, that stuff's looking great. Super craggly. I'm going to give them another little squirt. Then I'm going to flip them and then put them back in for the remainder of the time. Okay, quiet on the set. Okay, these are done. Now this is super important. You need to make sure you check the internal temperature of these puppies, or you're gonna get diarrhea since Easter's.
Do you not realize I have had diarrhea since Easter's?
Okay. Maybe I am not meant for these duties. Cooking duty. Dead guy duty. Maybe it's time for me to get a better duty.
If you want salmonella and campylobacter, don't check the temperature. So make sure that these are 165 internally before you start eating them, or you're gonna crap yourself. Okay. So go ahead and set these aside and let them sit for a few minutes so they can finish the cooking process. And then I'll show you what they look like compared to a piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then we'll do a taste test. These are our 2 chickens, okay? Guess which one is from which institution? Chad's Tasty Times or Kentucky Fried Chicken? This one's from Kentucky Fried Chicken. This one's from Chad's Tasty Times. These are both thighs. They're both they look delicious. So I'm going to taste the KFC first for a comparison. It's always good. Tastes different. Let's try the big old chicken. Check the temperature one more time. Okay, let's try this chicken. Way more flavor. This one's garbage. This has tons of flavor. So good. The crust is amazing. Way better than KFC. Saltier for sure. Way more flavor. This is way more healthy than doing KFCs, by the way. Make it. Make it. Think you like it. Bye! Holy cow. That's good. Hey, big kitty. Want some chicken? Isabella? So the spices we're using today is the spice recipe that was leaked to the Boston. I know, kitty. I know, kitty. Oh no. Kitty, you need to wait a minute. Isabella. Isabella, I know. Start. Green. Okay. These are, whoa.